If The Wire taught us anything, it's that being a law enforcement officer is a minefield of bureaucracy and morality, and one in which This Is the Police from Weappy Studios is content to reside in. This is a game whose primary concern is forcing the player into tough situations where what is necessary and what is ethical often don't coincide. This Is the Police is the tale of Jack Boyd, the police chief of Freeburg, as he attempts to scrounge together $500,000 before he's forced to retire in 180 days. Unfortunately, this isn't achievable on his meager salary, and thus Jack must find other ways to secure his money. The narrative is one of the best parts of the game. It's a rich, well-written noir thriller with plenty of sharp dialogue and moral conundrums. Most of the game occurs on a stylized map of Freeburg, with calls popping up at a steady clip throughout the day that the player must decide how to address. Deciding which officers to send to each call can be tough in its own right, because your staff is limited and failure can mean a decrease in proficiency and standing with the mayor, or even worse, the death of an officer. The calls are well written and compelling, but for some reason lack an outcome. The game often presents tough situations or bizarre mysteries to respond to, but never follows up with a conclusion, just a simple pass or fail. It's a strange choice given the strength of the writing. This Is the Police amps up the tension by forcing Jack to deal with two groups whose relationships have a direct effect on his job. The mayor's office and the mafia always seem to have some request of Jack that is often less than righteous, and whose refusal can mean a decrease in department funds and staff, or, at worst, can cost him his life. The game seems to have a lot going on the surface, with varied calls to respond to, investigations to participate in, and relationships to manage, but it's just not enough to justify the game's length. 180 days in the game translates roughly to 20 to 25 hours, but there are large swaths of the game that have little narrative impact and must simply be pushed through in order to get to the next cutscene. Add to that the fact that cases are not randomly generated, and suddenly hitting a fail state or attempting another playthrough means trudging back through the same scenarios all over again. This Is the Police has a lot going for it. A striking stylized art direction, great music, and plenty of tough choices to make players squirm in their seats. The writing and atmosphere mesh well with the near constant moral decisions and struggles with corruption, but it's held back by its length and a lack of gameplay variety. It's a game that starts out strong but overstays its welcome. Jack Boyd may have felt slighted by his 180-day term limit, but This Is the Police will have many players wishing for early retirement.